What's up, you guys? Welcome to the May 18th edition of NBA 3-Ball presented by Established to Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher. Getting ready to talk some playing basketball. Really, the second time we've ever seen this. We had the one game last year with the Grizzlies and Blazers. Pretty fun stuff. Talk some of that. Preview. We'll do a lot of preview for the Eastern Conference game that are on Tuesday. And just kind of going forward so you guys kind of know what the plan is here. Going to probably be mostly preview because I'm assuming most people listening to this now are probably and hopefully playing DFS. So even if you're just into basketball and kind of want to get an idea of matchups, so basically I'll be taking some of the matchup notes that I have going into the day and pretty much just sharing them, being a little bit more casual with them and throwing them around. But really cool stuff. I spent a lot of time researching today to prepare for the Eastern Conference, and then also we have a pod coming out, or it should be out, that talks about everything with Drew and Wiggins. It was awesome. It was really fun. You guys should definitely check that out. So let's get to the news, and it's the injury report for the Tuesday games. Not a lot of surprises. The biggest surprise to me, I guess, is Robert Williams getting a probable tag. He has that turf toe. Sounds like he's going to be okay to play. Probably be capped a little bit. And also, not a great matchup here. I think that Tristan Thompson should get the lion's share of the minutes. Probably pretty close to 28, I'd say. 28-20 kind of split. Considering the Wizards go straight centers with only 13 minutes of Davis Bertans since April 1st, you would think that they're going to go pretty big on the flip side of that. So I do think Tristan gets a pretty good spot here. We know Jaylen Brown's out. On the Wizards side, also mild surprise that Raul Neto is probable, despite being listed with a hamstring strain. We saw he didn't play on Sunday. He's likely going to start and get Kemba Walker duty, and Kemba's really lit him up. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so good to see him back. Again, probably starting. So cuts into a little bit of Ish Smith, who was spectacular on Sunday. A little bit of Bertans as well, who got the start. So he'll be affected. Hornets-wise, nothing new here. We know Gordon Hayward and Cody Martin aren't really close, haven't been practicing. Certainly expect Hayward to miss at least one game. Same with Martin if they do advance in this game. And the Pacers are pretty busy here. We've got Malcolm Brogdon, questionable. Did practice, did do that on the side running on Sunday. He ruled himself out for this game, for the Sunday game going into today. So he's going to be game time, and I think he's got a pretty good shot to play. It's a do-or-die situation. I think if it was a do-or-die situation on Sunday, he probably would have tried to play, but going to be capped. I don't think he could play 35, 36 minutes, so we have him projected at about 30 for our projections today if you're playing DFS, so a little bit risky, but his return in even a limited capacity is going to cut into Caris LeVert and Domantas Sabonis. They both have a little bit of a hit per minute-wise on their stat output, so we'll see how that is affecting them. Aaron Holiday should be back. Same with Edmund Sumner, who also practiced, both those guys. So it could get pretty tight. Don't really think Holiday will see much playing time. Edmund Sumner was starting before Brogdon went down. So I'd expect him to probably start and get some pretty good minutes here. He'll probably have to guard some bigger guys, whether it's Miles Bridges or something along those lines. It's not really a great matchup for him, so we might see a little bit more Doug McDermott with the Pacers also probably taking advantage of the Hornets being so bad at defending threes. And then also the easy part, we know Miles Turner and TJ Warren are out. All right, let's get some Eastern Conference playing round one preview stuff in here. Talk some West tomorrow, but Hornets, as I got the Hornets stats against the Pacers on the screen. And yeah, Rozier's certainly been playing a bunch. We know that LaMelo's actually been struggling. I mentioned this on the pod. His jumper percentage has really fallen off at under 40 effective field goal percentage when he was hanging at like 52, 53 before the All-Star break. So whether that's, he's also struggling at the rim. So something to watch there. He's still been aggressive. I think he'll play pretty well in this matchup because the Pacers are just really vulnerable to getting in the paint. So that should help Terry Rozier, who's really seen his driving output increase. So I think Rozier, we know he's going to play a ton. I don't think the matchup is very bad for him. We'll see a little bit of mixture of Brogdon, maybe some Sumner and LeVert all on him. I think he could certainly maximize that. And yeah, I expect him to have a really good output. I think probably the best matchup comes from Miles Bridges. We saw him play a ton of minutes. They're going to play him a ton. And this weak paint defense without Miles Turner should put Miles Bridges in a really good spot, both as a cutter and as a driver. And he'll hit some shots from three. I think Miles Bridges is going to be really a big key to this game. PJ Washington also should be interesting, and Cody Zeller has played pretty well against Domantas Sabonis, so he should be able to carry most of those center minutes, maybe even upper 20s if he can get hot. Pacers side of this, wide open threes have really been a weak spot for the Hornets. So shooters like Malcolm Brogdon, he'll be limited, should be able to benefit. I also think Karis LeVert should be in a pretty good spot here. Domantas Sabonis, as I mentioned, has not really done all that great against the Hornets. He's only had a 17, 11, and 7 line against them this season. And like I said, Zeller's been really good. And then Brogdon returning will cut into him. You're talking a significant dip in assists with Brogdon and LeVert on the court. And also a little hit to his scoring. So not a great matchup for him. And then Doug McDermott could be sneaky. Possibly starts, maybe get more size against Miles Bridges and those guys. Maybe Sumner is a little bit limited. So really Brogdon coming back and affecting those guys is the key here. So if Brogdon, he's not a lock. I mean, if Brogdon doesn't sit, that'll certainly help Sabonis and Sumner and Brissett also, who should be pretty good here. Coming off that career high game, expect to see a decent amount of him. Again, they could really use his size, and Nate Bjorkgren really talked about that after the game on Sunday. To the Celtics here, and man, they're going to miss Jaylen Brown bad, man, real bad. So leading with that, but let's start with Kemba Walker. He has really good numbers both right now and with Tatum without Brown. Per 36, looking at a 345-minute sample, scoring 29 per 36. Red hot as a jump shooter, one of the hottest jump shooters in the NBA right now. His last 52 jumpers, he is at a very impressive 68.3 effective field goal percentage. So be running a lot of pick and roll. I expect him to take advantage of a matchup against Howell Neto if they do run that 3-guard lineup out there, or Westbrook or Beal. I could see all those guys putting Kemba in a pretty good spot here. Jason Tatum hasn't really played great against the Wizards on the year. Pretty solid, 23-7-3, won a little bit more out of him, but fantastic in that sample with Kemba without Brown. 27-8-5, 345-minute sample. Should see a decent amount of Rui Hachimura. It was mostly Bradley Beal guarding him through the season, but given the way things are shaking out with the smaller lineup they're going to use, would probably expect a little bit more Rui, and I don't think that's a problem. I think Tatum could really light him up. So I think both those guys are going to really be carrying the offensive load, and should add that Evan Fournier, another guy just out of this world hot right now. In his last 30 wide open attempts, he in 8 games, 93.3 effective field goal percentage. We know his minutes are way up. We know he's going to probably guard Bradley Beal. He's guarded Bradley Beal in the top 8 among all the NBA players, so a lot of experience on him. They're going to be asking him to play a lot as Brad Stevens really wants to lean on these guys and kind of fill in the gaps with the Peyton Pritchards. Probably see a little bit of Aaron Nesmith. Maybe we see some Remy Langford, who played well over the weekend. Also, Tremont Waters really played well, but then we know they don't need his ball handling with Smart and Kemba out there. So, it's going to be those two guys and a little bit of Fournier. I mentioned earlier that Tristan Thompson should get the lion's share of the center minutes. And last, and certainly not least, the Wizards. Bradley Beal torched the Celtics this year, 41. But keep in mind, he is not 100%. Talked about it previously. He was laboring through that hammy issue, and he's going to be limited. Talked about it himself being a decoy. So, going to be tough, but I think he's in a pretty good spot if he can muster up the strength to stay out there and play a bunch of minutes. Russell Westbrook going to have a little bit of a path of resistance with him, likely seeing a lot of Marcus Smart, who's handled him pretty well by all expectations. Westbrook just absurd, 29.2 potential assists in May. That's crazy. He's shooting the ball better on jumpers, 48 effective field goal percentage. Not bad, not great. Shot selection, not quite there, but he's all boards and dimes, right? So I expect him to struggle scoring, probably score, teens, but fill it up in the other categories here. But as I mentioned, Marcus Smart held him to just 4 of 16 in that game that he did play against Smart, most of that matchup time on Smart. So not a great matchup for him. I mentioned Beal. He saw a lot of Jaylen Brown, so he'll see a lot of Evan Fournier. I mentioned that previously. Did a pretty good job on Fournier, 17 points and 47.5 partial possessions. So not the greatest, but I expect him to really light him up. Besides those two guys, tough to get excited about Hachimura. Tough to get excited about Bertans. Only 13 minutes of him at the center spot, so I don't really think he's going to be too great. And Howell Neto, if you want, I think a sneaky thing to do if you're playing DFS is correlate a good Kemba game with a bad Neto game. Because if Kemba has a good game, that's probably going to cut into Neto, who's out there for defense. So if you wanted to run Kemba and correlate him with Bertans, which probably makes more sense, or Ish Smith, I think that makes a lot of sense if you're running a tournament lineup out there. Center rotation should be Robin Lopez in the lead. We know Brooks gets kind of mad when he's asked about why he doesn't cut it. So Robin Lopez has pretty good numbers against the Celtics minutes-wise, 20.1 minutes per game. Daniel Gafford did not play against the Celtics because he was traded there, so it's something to watch. But yeah, I think Rolo could get the upper hand on the center minutes in this matchup. That's gonna do it. Do want to let you guys know we're running a special for our packages at Establish the Run, promo code playoffs. So go there, get a really good discount on what we're running. Got an underdog kit we just put out. If you're going to run that, really, really cool. Put a lot of effort into that today. Shout out to the team. So catch you guys next time.